Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com, here to do your monthly intuitive reading for May 2021. So for this month's monthly reading, we'll be using the Sirian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. Your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. So let's go ahead and get started with showing you what your stones of choice are, because there's a lot to cover in this month of May. It's going to be a busy month. So your first stone of choice is this beautiful ocean jasper. Isn't that beautiful? So the ocean jasper is a stone that stimulates the heart chakra to encourage joy and happiness and elevated spirits. It is positive and loving and fosters that positive and loving energy into communication with other people. And it is also a stone that enhances one's personal power, which we all need, right? Your second stone of choice is this beautiful petrified wood. Now you'd think petrified wood would be light, but this is actually a very heavy stone, just like all of the others. And the petrified wood is considered a stone of transformation, and it actually vibrates to the master number 77. I thought that was very interesting. This is a stone of good fortune, stability, security. It imparts wisdom as well as a sense of grounding. It helps us to launch new goals and get things accomplished. And then your last stone of choice is this beautiful stone that I just found in a new metaphysical store, a stone that I don't have any of, so I had to have it. It's called merlinite, okay? And merlinite, it's also called the indigo gabbro stone. I thought that was interesting, indigo gabbro stone. So the merlinite is mystical and magical. It helps one to see through the veil, helps to increase all of our psychic abilities, as well as speaking with other spirits from the other side. It helps us to recall our past lives and our past life gifts, and it helps to awaken the dormant part of our mind, or our higher mind, I guess you would say. So again, your stones of choice for this month are the ocean jasper, the petrified wood, or the merlinite. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the energy vibration of the month of May. I'm really excited about this month because there's a lot happening, and the energy vibration, numerologically speaking, is the number 10. And how we get that is we take the universal year number of 2021, which adds up to a 5. We add that universal year of a 5 to the month of May, which is the 5th month, and we get a 10. Now, of course, in numerology, we like to reduce things down to a single digit, so 1 plus 0 is 1. So the 1 is the first of the single digit numbers, and so it's about initiation and new beginning and blazing a new trail and starting a new path or starting a new direction. It's about the individual, or our sense of individual identity, our independence, our ability to be self-sufficient, our ability to pay attention to our own needs and wants and desires, of course, not necessarily in a selfish way, but in a way where if we take care of ourselves, we're better able to assist, guide, help, protect other people as well. So again, that number 10 is new beginnings. Now you might wonder what the 0 is, and oftentimes in numerology, we say that the 0 is about divine protection and guidance from universal source. It's the all that is. So in essence, this number 10 vibrating to May is about new beginnings with divine guidance and protection. Now, the 10th Major Arcana in the tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. And in the Sirian Starseed Tarot, it's called the Great Wheel. So this is the energy vibration from the tarot that relates to this month of May 2021. It's the Wheel of Fortune, the Great Wheel, which talks about a karmic shift of energy vibration. It's something energetically that's shifting. It's usually about positive new beginnings, a positive shift in the energy of the karmic wheel, so to speak. And isn't this a lovely card? It has a very universal feel to it. Again, that divine protection and guidance. It's got this geometric shape in the middle, indicating higher wisdom and knowledge. So the Wheel of Fortune is, again, moving us into this new beginning energy, this new path energy, this shift of, again, the karmic wheel. And what does that mean? I mean, we could think about our karmic past life lessons. We could think about circumstances or situations in our lives that seem to keep repeating themselves, or we have this repeated theme in our life as far as our belief systems and our patterns that we operate under, maybe in relationships or maybe in career or work or money matters, family matters, in different parts of our lives. So this is going to help us to shift out of those patterns, shift out of those karmic patterns, and give us that little push towards this evolution and growth as we move into, again, this new beginning energy. And, we do have eclipses starting this month, which is part, I think, of this energy of the Wheel of Fortune, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about the astrological highlights of the month of May. So there's a lot going on in May, but I'm just going to talk about some of the most significant energies. So we start on the 3rd of May, and on the 3rd of May, we have a lot of planetary shifting. And a lot of that shifting is from Taurus and into Gemini. We've been in Taurus energy with a lot of the personal planets, including the sun, in that earth sign of Taurus, which is more practical and consistent and grounded and security oriented and work oriented. And it's taking things very slowly, step by step, because that is the earth element. But now we're starting to move into Gemini season. And on the 3rd of May, we have Mercury, the planet of the mind, the mental realm, our ideas, thoughts, belief systems, our perceptions. And it is moving into Gemini. Now, Mercury rules Gemini. It also rules Virgo, but I think it's a better fitted with Gemini anyway. And so Mercury's moving into his home sign. Now he's going to have a retrograde a little bit later, and actually the retrograde starts later this month, and I'll tell you that date when we get to it. But Mercury in Gemini is very much at home here. There's a huge curiosity here, an ability to attain knowledge or absorb knowledge through reading or researching or trying new things. And it's very logical. It's very much, again, this mental energy of the mind, networking, social activities, communication with other people, sharing information and knowledge, helping people figure things out. This is Gemini's realm, and this is Mercury's realm. So again, Mercury and Gemini, it's going to be very much at home there, but it can get a little bit overwhelmed because Gemini is a mutable sign, and mutable means it's very changeable. It's not necessarily focused like Taurus was. Mercury just came out of Taurus, and it was much more consistent and stable and focused. Now, because of its curiosity, it's jumping from thing to thing or place to place, or the conversations that we might be having, maybe they're broken conversations where we're not kind of finishing one thought before we go on to the next thought. So it might take a little bit more effort to try to focus our thoughts and our ideas and within our communications to make things, kind of unfold easily or make sense, if you will. Now on the 7th of May, only a few days later, Venus follows Mercury and also moves into Gemini. So Venus has been in Taurus, and Taurus is one of Venus's home signs. Just like Mercury, Venus rules two signs of the zodiac, and that would be Taurus and Libra. So Venus rules the divine feminine, relationships, our personal resources, our values. Taurus, being the second sign of the zodiac, also rules our personal resources like money and finances. Time is also a personal resource. Assistance from other people might be a resource for us. And Taurus also rules our values. And so while Venus was in Taurus, there was a strong focus on our values, our money, our finances, our personal resources, as well as beauty, because Venus loves beauty, and so does Taurus. They like things that are very beautiful and very fine, if you will, that are quality. That's the word I'm looking for. Venus and Taurus likes quality. But now Venus is moving into Gemini. So what does that do with the planet that rules partnerships, relationships, the planet that rules money, finances, and personal resources? Again, Gemini is very logic, information, and mental oriented. And so you can think about relationships here, where Venus in Gemini is going to place now more emphasis on communication in relationships, and not emotional communication, but logical communication. This is going to be about being more objective about things going on in the relationships, whether they be romantic relationships, business relationships, family, friendship relationships. We're going to just be a little bit more objective and logical and be able to have that type of conversation, sharing our thoughts, sharing our concerns, our ideas, our perceptions about something that's going on in our life or within that particular kind of relationship. And it's not going to get caught up necessarily in the emotions of it all. However, there's other things going on this month that may bring up some of that emotional energy. But Venus, in regards to money and finances and personal resources in Gemini, can mean that there's multiple avenues that we're either looking into that can create financial resources for ourselves. We're doing more than one thing to kind of create money kind of flowing in and happening. Or we are getting a little bit caught in, what do I want to say, caught up in and overwhelmed in maybe the details of all the possibilities and all the potentials. Because again, Gemini has that mutable, up and down and all over the place kind of energy. So when we're thinking about our personal resources, in other words, there could be a lot of circumstances and situations going on within that realm of, let's say, money and finances, to where it's hard for us to stay grounded or stay focused or stay in a place of feeling secure. Because Gemini can get caught up in the mental of the fears and the anxieties. Gemini is a highly anxious kind of sign. So we might become overly anxious, let's say, about our resources or our money and our finances. We might have anxiety regarding something going on in relationship and partnership because of the Venus going into that sign. On the 11th of May, we have a new moon in Taurus. It's at 21 degrees Taurus. New moons are about new beginnings. Taurus is about, again, values, personal resources, our sense of self-worth, how we value ourselves. It's about our work, our effort, our persistence, our patience, our determination. So this new moon may be, I don't know, I want to say kind of mellow, grounded. You know, again, we're dealing with practical matters. And I have here that this new moon is actually connecting to Pluto. So Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, power and control, transformation, regeneration. It's a very empowering sort of energy. So I feel like with a new moon being about new beginnings, and it being about our sense of valuing ourselves or self-worth, I feel like this can empower how we value ourselves. This can empower what we have to offer as far as our personal resources to other people. You know, this can help us to feel empowered and maybe even a little bit more secure in ourselves. Since Taurus deals with security, usually it's financial security, but we can kind of look at it from the perspective of feeling more of an inner security within our own beingness. Again, that value and that worthiness. Okay, so we have to go ahead here, and let me take a look here at my notes and jumping ahead. On the 13th, this is probably the most important thing astrologically I would say, that's going on in the month of May. Maybe the second most, because we do have that eclipse coming up. But on the 13th of May, we have Jupiter moving into Pisces. Now, Jupiter is known as the planet of blessings. It's the great benefic. So the great benefic means planet of great blessings. It rules expansion, the expansion principle, which is why it's known as the planet of great blessings. It's expanded blessings. Jupiter expands whatever it touches, whether it touches another planet in an aspect, whether it's moving from one sign to another, whatever sign it's in, it expands those energies. Jupiter is also about our belief systems. So what sign is Jupiter in? What's the belief system all about in the collective right now? Well, it's been in Aquarius, and Jupiter stays in a sign of the zodiac for about a year, but sometimes it retrogrades in and out of a sign a little bit. So it went into Aquarius. That was the fall of 2020. And here we are, not quite halfway into 2021, and it's already moving into Pisces, but it's going to retrograde back into Aquarius a little bit later in the year. So we're just getting a hint or a taste of Jupiter in Pisces. That is, again, something that's going to be coming up more permanently as we move towards the end of the year and into 2022. But if Jupiter expands the energies, what is Pisces all about? Pisces is about unconditional love and compassion. Pisces is artistic and creative and musical and psychic and intuitive. Pisces deals with the other realms, the spiritual realms. It rules the spiritual realm and things that are intangible, or places or things that are unseen to our naked third-dimensional eyesight. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, so in essence it rules completion, the completion of some sort of phase, the completion of some sort of energy. So Jupiter is expanding all of these things, and on the one hand, I think it's going to be great because Jupiter is going to expand our creative abilities, our intuitive and psychic abilities. It's going to expand the collective's ability for unconditional love and compassion, and forgiveness is another key word for Pisces. Now, Pisces, though, on the shadow side, can have a lack of boundaries. There's a lack of boundaries there. And sometimes there's some addictive or escapist types of tendencies. So we could see also Jupiter expanding those addictive or escapist kind of tendencies if they're already there within oneself. Jupiter could expand this lack of boundaries. So it's going to be important to start working on setting your boundaries and keeping your boundaries set, basically. But again, on the positive end, I feel like, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, by the way. It modernly, it rules Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is about expanded vision, which is why Jupiter, the planet of expansion, ruling Sagittarius expanded vision works very well. But in ancient times, before the outer planets were discovered, Jupiter also ruled Pisces. It ruled both Sagittarius and Pisces. So Pisces, again, is this expanded universal wisdom, knowledge, energy, potential. It's unlimited potential. And Jupiter can expand into that unlimited potential. Jupiter can expand into, again, that unconditional love, all the possibilities that are out there, the miracles that are there, that Pisces idea of miracles and magic. So again, I'm really excited about that. Now, Jupiter is going to be in Pisces from May 13th until July 28th. On July 28th, it's going to dip back into Aquarius. Okay, so it actually turns retrograde in Pisces on June 20th, and then dips back from its retrograde motion into Aquarius on July 28th. And then once it goes back to direct motion in Aquarius, Jupiter will move back into Pisces for good, at least for this particular year cycle, on December 28th. So almost the very last of this year of 2021, December 28th. And it will be in Pisces until May 10th of 2022. Okay? So that's a good amount of time for us to expand into that magic and the unlimited potential of the universe. So we spent a little bit of time there, but I thought, again, Jupiter going into Pisces, I think is going to be quite magical. Remember that Pisces is that water sign, and water signs are emotional. They're intuitive, creative, empathic, and slightly emotional and very spiritual. So all of those things are going to be expanded. Then we're going to jump ahead to the 20th of May, and this is when the sun moves into Gemini. This is the time of year that the sun always moves into Gemini. But remember, we had Mercury going into Gemini on May 3rd. We had Venus going into Gemini on May 7th, did I say? And now we have the sun moving into Gemini on the 20th. So now we're fully into this Gemini energy with the personal planets, at least most of the personal planets. And again, it's objective, it's thought processes, thinking, perceptions, ideas, analyzing, and using, these insightful ideas of how we want to move forward. And communication, obviously. Gemini is all about communication, speaking, teaching, writing, sharing our wisdom, sharing our thoughts, sharing our ideas with other people. Now, on the 23rd, there's another big thing happening here on the 23rd of May, and that is Saturn turning retrograde. So Saturn is the opposite of Jupiter as far as its energies. Jupiter is expansion. Saturn is restriction and limitation. Jupiter is blessings. Saturn is about karma and karmic lessons. So Saturn is known as the great teacher of karmic lessons. And it has an energy of that restriction and limitation that I talked about. It's about delays. It's about third dimensional time, which is why it's about patience and delays. But it's also about restructuring. It's about restructuring our lives, restructuring ourselves, finding our own sense of inner authority. That's all about Saturn too. But part of that shadow can be insecurity. Saturn kind of brings up fears, anxieties, doubts, all of those karmic kinds of energies where we feel held back from expressing or held back from moving forward. It's going retrograde at 13 degrees of Aquarius. So when a planet turns retrograde, it internalizes the energies of that planet. So Saturn retrograde is going to internalize the Saturn energies of insecurity. We might start processing our own inner fears, our own inner anxieties, our own inner sense of insecurity. Where are we insecure within ourselves? Where do we feel insecure in our lives? And how is that associated with how we feel about ourselves? We might, be more internally aware of our personal karma, so to speak. Saturn rules karma, but when it's operating in a direct motion, it's out into the world. When it's in a retrograde motion, it's internalizing. So we're a little bit more self-aware. We're more self-aware on a personal level of the Saturn, in this case, the Saturn energies. So to me, it comes down to how can we restructure ourselves? How can we restructure our inner life? Not our outer life, but how can we restructure our inner life? How can we feel more secure within ourselves? How can we learn the lessons that Saturn, the great teacher, is trying to teach us? How can we be okay with timing and having patience for how things are unfolding, or the timing that things are unfolding, and be okay with that, knowing that everything occurs in divine time. That's part of it. Everything occurs in divine time exactly when it's supposed to. So if we can shift our perspective to that, then we're going to be okay with the timing that things are seemingly happening, how it's unfolding, the timing. I mean, some of us, we want to be from point A to point Z, and we want to get there in the blink of an eye or now. And that's okay. And sometimes maybe that might even happen. But in this case, Saturn's going to slow down things a little bit here. Now in Aquarius is about the humanitarian energy, right? So there might be some restrictions placed on group endeavors, which Aquarius rules, or humanitarian ideals or efforts, which Aquarius rules. Aquarius rules our hopes, dreams, and wishes. I'm not going to say that Saturn's going to keep that from happening, but again, it might delay that in happening. So again, there's a reason for everything. So believe that there's a reason why the timing might be off a little bit, or why it might be taking a little bit longer for things to fall into place, so that once Saturn turns back to direct motion, which is going to be in about 4 months or so from when it goes retrograde, then we are going to have restructured our inner world enough that it's going to translate to the restructuring of our outer world. Now we get to the thing that's probably the most important thing. I don't know if I want to say the most important, but probably the most powerful thing this month of May, second to Jupiter moving into Pisces. And that's going to be a full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. So yes, we're entering eclipse season again. So if we're having a full moon lunar eclipse on the 26th of May, that means 2 weeks after that, we're going to have a new moon solar eclipse. And that will occur sometime in the first 2 weeks of June. So we'll get to that when we talk about June. But full moons are about completions and endings and letting go and releasing. Now, as the full moon is gaining in her power and coming into her fullness, of course, that's the most powerful time for manifestation or for powerful magical things to occur and happen. That Sagittarius energy is about inspiration. It's about the far-reaching future. It's about having the vision of where you want to go and what you want to do in life. Sagittarius is about our belief systems. What do you believe? Do you have faith, and do you believe in what it is that you want to do and who you want to be? And do you have faith and believe that this world can be a better place? So we have to look at it also on a collective level. And then, of course, again, thereafter, we're releasing and letting go of certain energies that no longer serve us anymore. And mostly our belief systems, because again, Sagittarius rules our belief systems. So what belief systems no longer serve you anymore? And when we get to this point, right? And so that is going to be something that you'll want to work on releasing and letting go of. Now, eclipses, it's not just a regular full moon, right? But this is an eclipse. Eclipses are much more powerful than a regular full moon or a regular new moon. It's going to intensify the energies of either the completion phase or the new beginning phase, based on whether it's a full moon or a new moon. And so this speeds things up. It speeds up the evolution and growth. We take big evolutionary leaps during the time of an eclipse. Situations and circumstances go through huge shifts and changes during eclipse time. So be prepared. It depends on where it falls in your astrological chart too, but be prepared for huge shifts or redirections in your life from the second half of May through the first half and thereafter of June, because eclipses aren't just when they happen, not just the time of the full moon or the new moon, but those eclipses, those energies that come from those eclipses are going to unfold in the weeks and even the months to come. But there's something being definitely initiated if you pay attention. And then on the 29th, we have Mercury going retrograde in Gemini at 24 degrees. So it went all the way up to 24 degrees. There's 30 degrees in a sign. So it almost made it through Gemini. And it's going to retrograde in Gemini. It never leaves Gemini, so it's going to stay retrograde in Gemini, giving us the opportunity to restructure, revise, review, recreate, all of those things that we put RE in front of. It's going to give us that time to go over things, to fine-tune things. It's a good time, of course, all Mercury retrogrades, to not sign any contracts or start a new project from scratch. If you're already in the midst of a project, that's fine. If you're starting something new within that project that's already been started, that's okay. But usually they say don't make any big purchases, don't sign any contracts, and don't start anything new. And travel, there could be some delays or cancellations in travel, or with any kind of correspondence, meetings, emails, phone calls, anything technological as well, because Mercury rules all of that technology and mind stuff. And especially with it being in its home sign of Gemini, it's especially going to affect these things with communication. Okay, so it's going to be retrograde until June 22nd, and then it's not going to be out of its shadow until July 7th. So, you know, even previous to it going retrograde on the 29th of May this month, you know, it's going to be in its shadow. I did not write down, it doesn't appear to that I wrote down when it goes into its shadow, but it's usually a week and a half to 2 weeks before it actually goes retrograde. So we could say about the middle of May, it's already going to start going into its shadow. It's already going to start crossing the degrees in Gemini that it's going to retrograde back through, which is where we can already start to feel some of the effects of the Mercury in Gemini retrograde. And then again, once it turns back to direct motion on June 22nd, it's going to take until July 7th before it's fully past the degree with where it went first retrograde on the 29th of May. So it's this whole amount of time that's indicated with sorting things out, okay? Okay, I think that's about it. That was a lot. I know that was a lot and took up a lot of time here as far as those astrological energies of significance, but it is a very important and a very powerful month this month. So let's go ahead and jump into now the energy, the messages from our angels and guides, so then we can look at our special message depending on our stone of choice. So I pulled, normally try to stick with 3 cards, but as those that are watching my weekly and monthly videos often know, there's often more cards that can come out. And because this is an important month, there was quite a few, 5 cards to be exact, 5 cards that came out. So the first card comes out as 2 cards. And the first of those 2 cards is the Ace of Chalices. So this is like the Ace of Cups, and the aces are about new beginnings. And just as I said, the month of May vibrates to a 10, which reduces down to a 1, which is about new beginnings, right? So we have new beginnings here. It's interesting that it's the chalices, because this is about our emotional nature, our emotional body, how we feel, how we sense, how we empathize. So this is a new beginning in how we're feeling, a new beginning in the emotional realm. And you can see the cup is overflowing, right? The cup is overflowing with joy, with potential. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune is about too, right? It's overflowing with joy and potential and new opportunities here. And this is more on an emotional level. So I feel like this is about us having these new beginnings with feeling more joyful, more happy, more emotionally fulfilled in life. Okay? And, you know, the aces are always positive. I mean, we could have a card from this suit of chalices that might be feeling overly emotional, but this seems to be, again, with the ace, a card of positivity. So we're feeling like our cup is running over. So again, the blessings. Remember Jupiter moving into Pisces? Jupiter can expand these mystical, magical, spiritual blessings. I think that's a part of this Ace of Chalices, is like if we're just in this space of joy and happiness and love, unconditional love, it's going to really allow blessings to start flowing to us, okay? There's a lot of emotional joy here. And something's being given to us. If you look very closely at the bottom of this card, there's 2 hands coming up out of the water, offering that chalice, offering that gift, offering that blessing to us, to you. Okay, so accept. You have to learn to accept and receive the blessings, the gifts, the opportunities that are being offered to you. Let's go ahead and take a look at the card that came out with this card. Okay, we have another Chalices card. Very interesting. It's the Adept of Chalices. This is one of the court cards. In the traditional tarot, it would be the Knight. So this is the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Chalices. Now, notice we're still in the emotional realm here. And the Knight is more mature than the Page. The Page is more of the child energy. The Knight is more of the adolescent or young adult energy. And then, of course, we get to the Queen, who's more mature, and then the King, who is the most mature. So here we have more of this adolescent energy. And you can see that now we're with the water, and the water is kind of coming into this big wave or a small tsunami here. So the emotional realm, you know, the emotional realm that we saw here with blessings coming in, Could also be a little stormy at times, could also be a little overwhelming at times. Not necessarily, I mean, it could be stormy. We could feel emotionally off or going through an emotional purge, which this seems like with the wave that we might be going through an emotional purge because things are coming up. Jupiter is moving into water sign Pisces, and it's bringing up some of that stuff from the deep waters of our emotional nature that maybe need to be purified and purged. And that actually is a blessing, even though it might feel like an overwhelming challenge when we're going through it. I feel like it's interesting here that it looks like the rim of a cup here. Just like the cup here is being offered to us, this looks like the outer rim of a cup. And there's this emotional wave within the cup. And it looks to be a person like trying to swim or maneuver that wave. Okay, so I feel like some of us might be a little overwhelmed by the emotions that are happening, and maybe it's not all a challenge either. Maybe this is the overwhelming emotions of unconditional love and compassion and forgiveness and support of one another and feeling a part of the one and feeling a part of the collective and feeling a part of each other. That can feel a little overwhelming too, although it's a very positive thing. So I feel like we're just trying to maneuver some of the emotions that we're feeling, that we're going through. And at times it's like riding the wave, or at times it's like keeping your head above water. So there's a whole lot of things I feel like that are happening. Not to mention the eclipse energies, once we get later in the month, can also, be quite emotional. Full moons are emotional anyway, and we have a full moon eclipse. So there can be a lot of emotional energy happening here with Jupiter moving into Pisces, Saturn's going retrograde, we have an eclipse. So I feel like this is one that we're just trying to maneuver. Now in the traditional tarot, the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Chalices, is also very romantic. So if we're dealing with anything regarding relationships, this is about, again, unconditional love and compassion and forgiveness in relationships, and romantic, being romantic in relationships and doing those romantic things and giving those romantic gifts and just feeling a new surge of love. The Ace of Cups is a new beginning in love, whether it be romantic love or just universal love. There's this new beginning here and this show of affection and show of emotion as well with the Adept of Chalices. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. Let's see what the next cards are. Now the next card came out as 2 cards again, so we'll look at the first of those. And no, we switch gears to fire. Isn't that interesting? So this is the 6 of Flames, which is like the 6 of fire, the 6 of rods in the traditional tarot. And the suit of fire or rods is about the spiritual realm. This rules the spiritual realm. And Sagittarius, where we have our full moon lunar eclipse, is a fire sign as well. So here we've switched to fire. And the 6 of fire is about success and victory and again, kind of blessings of a spiritual nature that are coming in. The number 6 numerologically is a very balanced number, which to me symbolizes as above, so below. Now in this particular rendition of the card, we have 5 of the flames down here kind of either on the earth or beneath the earth. The 6th flame is rising above, somebody holding the torch of that 6th flame, rising above all of those other flames. And so there might be a little bit of time where we need to rebalance ourselves, even though the 6 indicates balance. And because it's a card of success and victory, I believe we will attain that balance. But we might feel a little imbalanced in the beginning of it all. We might feel like, okay, we have to really, like lead the way with the light, with our own light within, or follow the steps that the spiritual messages are guiding us towards. The torch with the light here is lighting the way for us. It's showing us the way. But we might need to rebalance ourselves a little bit and catch up. To me, it almost looks like a sun there too, right? It's like the great central sun is what comes to mind, the great central sun. And it also reminds me again that mid-June we'll have a solar eclipse. And so I feel like maybe the rebalancing will more take place once we get to or just past that solar eclipse in June. So again, give it some time. But this is a very positive card. and we're moving in a very positive direction, spiritually speaking. Remember, from a third dimensional perspective, with our third dimensional eyes and how we perceive things, we might not realize them at first, but from a spiritual perspective, which is the fire element, we are moving in a good, balanced direction, and we will move into a place of success and victory. But let's go ahead and see what card comes out or came out with this one. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have another Flames card and another Ace card. We have the Ace of Flames, the Ace of Rods, the Ace of Fire. So now we have new beginnings on a spiritual level to follow this up. And I feel like, again, it might take us into June before we can rebalance these 5 flames below to this one bright shining light above. But look at that. It's like that bright shining light above, that torch above, is like the Ace of Fire here, the new beginning, where we finally reach that new beginning. We finally reach that successful pinnacle. This is a new beginning on a spiritual level, a new beginning on a creative level, a new beginning on a passionate, fiery level, right? This is about leadership, creation, imagination, inspiration. So this is where a lot of this new beginning is coming in. And again, Sagittarius rules inspiration and that expanded vision out into the world. And, we have this orange color, the yellow color of the solar plexus chakra, our center of personal power, the orange color of the sacral chakra, our creative self-expression, maybe little tinges of the red in there that deals with the root chakra, our sense of stability and security. So those chakras are being highlighted, and we're starting to have this new beginning of how we're going to operate from those chakras in a much more positive and inspired way. The light is shining brightly. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last card. And I already know what the last card is because when I was shuffling and picking the cards and asking Spirit, is there any more cards to pick? This card, as the last card, fell out of the deck, and it's the card that I already showed you or had to show you that relates to the vibration tarot-wise for the month of May, which is the Great Wheel. Okay, the Great Wheel wanted to come out in the reading as well as showing itself for the vibration tarot-wise for the month of May. So we end this reading with, again, that Wheel of Fortune turning, those blessings starting to come in, a shift in the energy that's leading us in a more positive direction. Old negative karma falling away and new positive karma being generated, because karma only means what we put out we get back. If we put out something negative, it's got to kind of balance itself. So in some way, shape, or form, it's going to come back to us. If we put out positive things and help people and love people and do good things, we're going to get that back as positive karma. So this is about kind of a balancing, if you will, of that karma, not just this lifetime, but from previous lifetimes, previous incarnations, etc. So we've got a shifting here that's going on, and I think that this is a great way to end at least this part of the reading. So let's go ahead and take a look at what your special message card is, depending on your stone of choice. Okay, so I have to close my eyes a little bit because as I'm looking into the camera, I can see what's on the bottom here, and I don't want to be distracted. So that first stone we had was the ocean jasper, right? Yep. So we need a special message for ocean jasper people. Special message for ocean jasper. And occasionally I'm going to open my eyes to see if a card's popping up, and this one's kind of calling my attention. This one. Okay, you know what? It doesn't want to come out, so that's definitely not the card. I mean, really, if I'm tugging that hard and the card's not coming out. So Ocean Jasper, show me the card, the special message for Ocean Jasper. This one's calling my attention. Oh my gosh, the sun. I love it. The sun means success and recognition for who you are out in the world. It usually relates to the career. Now, this isn't a tarot deck, but to me, the sun card in this deck relates to the sun card in the tarot deck, which is, again, my career, who I am out in the world, my destiny path, Here I am, world, I'm shining my light, I'm doing my thing, I'm being recognized and appreciated for what I have to offer here. This person's in a cup of water, just like that chalice of water. So there's new beginnings on the career path. And if it's not career specifically, it's new beginnings on your destiny path with, again, how you experience the world and how people see you from a world perspective. And this is about, again, shining your light and being happy and joyous and appreciating the little things in life. To me, this is really about being in joy. We have a little fairy over here on this side. She's immersed in the water, but she's very happy. She's got the sun shining down upon her. So this is a very happy, joyous, light-filled card. For those of you that got this message, if you have any citrine, I feel strongly that you should wear citrine, carry citrine, put it in your office or in your home somewhere. Citrine, that golden yellow stone that kind of looks like that sun energy. And here we have the number 1, right? It's the first card in this deck. So it's about new beginnings and initiating a new path, initiating new energies, initiating something new, rebirthing yourself. This person's in the water, sort of like rebirthing herself, cleansing away the old and rebirthing. So this is really exciting for those of you that chose that ocean jasper. Okay, the petrified wood. Petrified wood, special message, petrified wood. The one on the bottom, I didn't see it, I promise, but the one on the bottom feels like it's calling my attention. And it's indecision. And this, to me, is like being at a crossroads. Okay, you might feel indecisive because you're at a crossroads and you don't know which decision to make, what road to go down, which way to go, when to make the move, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of indecision. Now you can look at this as various possibilities as well. There's those 2 road signs on either side, and both road signs have two different kind of directions or places to go here. So I feel like you need to pause for a minute. Okay, if you can wait to make a decision. Now, maybe you still need to make the decision within May, but if you can wait at all, especially because Mercury is going retrograde this month. If you can wait till Mercury retrograde is over, wait till Mercury retrograde is over. If you can't, if you can wait till the eclipse is over later in the month, wait till the eclipse is over. But if you must make a decision, try to take at least 24 to 48 hours and write down the pros and cons, write down the benefits and the detriments, and really ponder and meditate on the possibilities and the potentials. Now, I feel like we need to pull a secondary card for you. Get more information. Let me kind of tune into spirit. Should we pull a secondary card? Yes. Is it the one on the top? Okay, so let's go ahead and see what addendum message, what further information you need as far as the indecision card. Okay, this one was sticking up. Wow, you're being deceived on some level. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily that someone is deceiving you, but your own belief systems or your own thoughts might be deceiving you. This could obviously mean that, and not just someone, but maybe circumstances. You think something is the way it is, and maybe that situation or circumstance really isn't that at all. So the number 25 here, which is at the top, 25 adds up to a 7, which is about, again, pausing, reflecting, going within, doing meditation, asking spirit or your guides and angels for a message to kind of clarify the way. So you're definitely being asked to, bring some clarity before you make a decision on something. Okay, so I'm sorry that was your clarification card, but definitely, kind of going along with that first card of taking a pause, taking a moment, and reflecting. The longer you can wait to make the decision, again, the better. As we talked about with, Mercury retrograde and everything else. Okay, so those of you that chose the Merlinite, special message for Merlinite. Okay, this one's calling my attention right here. Door to spirit. Door to Spirit. The number 32 adds up to a 5, which is about many potentials, many possibilities, a lot of things happening and going on, networking. To me, there's a lot of potential here. If you walk through the door to Spirit, in other words, if you're living solely on the third dimensional realm and thinking about things only from a practical nature or how things appear to be or what it looks like, try to move outside of that perspective to a higher perspective. Try to call in your angels and guides. Try to move into that spiritual world by connecting with your higher self and in meditation or out in nature or however it works best for you. And as you move through that door to Spirit, feel like wonderful, miraculous answers will come to you, just like those little sparkly lights that are coming through the doorway, the wonderful white dove, which is Spirit, an angel, a guide, your higher self coming through to kind of, guide you and lead the way. And I feel like it's going to be very magical. I feel like it's just, if you can connect in that way to Spirit, I feel like it's just going to unfold naturally and just kind of happen magically and naturally for you. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for those of you that subscribe to the channel. That way you can get notifications when a new video comes out. And I'm going to really try to do just spontaneous videos in between the weekly and the monthly on other things. And I'm going to try to do some of those live streams. So, definitely you want to subscribe so that when I go live, that you'll be able to kind of pop on and say hi to me. And thank you for all of you that have shared the videos, liked the videos, sent comments and support regarding the videos. And for all of you that follow me on Facebook, if you're watching this and you do follow me on my Facebook page, Colleen Lemma, be sure to like and follow me on my Facebook business page, which is Colleen Lemma - Sacred Soul Empowerment, because eventually I'm going to be moving away from putting the astrological and inspirational posts on the Colleen Lemma personal timeline and moving all of that to the business Facebook page in time. So I want to make sure that all of you that follow me on Facebook also will like that Colleen Lemma Sacred Soul Empowerment page so that you can continue to get that information, those posts, as well as be up on some of the things that are going to be happening with my business. We're going to launch a lot of new products here pretty soon on Sacred Soul Empowerment, and there's going to be giveaways and kind of prizes and freebies and things like that once we get that launched. So be sure to keep up with all of that. Thank you all so much for your love and light. I send you lots of love and light back, and many, many blessings to all of you. Namaste.